and welcome to this session on mastering AI basics, crafting an effective prompt for precise results for healthcare. Of course, the introduction said diabetes, but we are not going to just focus on diabetes. We are going to see healthcare in general, but with a special focus on diabetes. Because since I'm an endocrinologist, that's what we'll be focusing on. Now, what we'll be doing is we are going to do something very exciting, very interesting today. And in fact, I'm going to introduce to you a new way of learning altogether. So, what we're going to do is, so if you're already logged into the system, I need one more favor from you. Now, this course which you're going to do, right, this is going to be live. Of course, you're going to see this right now as you're seeing this. But at the same time, at the end of this session, live session, you will also be able to access all the material that we are going to discuss. Everything is going to be there on this platform. So to access this platform, you'll have to go to this website, technocrinology.com. The link is given below. So just go to this website. Here you will find this thing, free membership. So just click on this free membership and sign up. Once you sign up on this free membership, right, you will get something like this, right? So once you're signed up, you will get this thing, right? The same course same thing which you're learning, right? So just click on this and the entire system will open up. Okay, I'll also show you how to use the mobile. So the system will open up like this, and you can, whatever we're going to discuss, you'll be able to access all of this thing at the same time, right, live. And also at the end of this session also, you'll be able to get all these things, all the material, so that you can go home and revise and have a look at this again and again. There are also some quiz embedded into it. And finally, we have one exam. So if you pass this exam, right, trust me, it's very easy. You will actually get the certificate also. So you'll be able to download the certificate on your own, certificate of participation. So I'll request you to use this little service. Below I have given the direct link also. So it's technocrinology.thinkific.com/membership/free. So this will be posted on all the slides. So you can go and check this out, or you can go to technocrinology.com and access this entire thing. And you will be also able to access this on your mobile application. So you need to go to the App Store or your Android Play Store and search for Thinkific. That's what you have to search for. Go to Thinkific and then search for Technocrinology. Okay, search for Technocrinology like this. Okay, and you'll find something like this orangish thing, right? And go there and just sign up again. And the same thing what you have, you'll be able to access that on your mobile also. Okay, so sign up with the same email address that we used to sign up for through the website, or you can access this through your mobile phone also, or through the website also, right? So whatever we are going to learn, you can in fact right now go and do this and do this live. So you'll be able to get all the material there itself. Now, today what we are going to do is, I'm assuming that a lot of you have not attended any of the talks on AI earlier. If you have, great, it's a revision for you. If you have not, we'll be starting from absolute scratch. And what we are going to discuss today is something very important, very fundamental, and that is the art and craft of prompting. Now, you have all heard about prompt engineering. In 2024, among all the surveys done for all educational institutions, the number one skill which everybody wants to learn, whether it's a student in school, whether it's a college going student, whether it's a master's student, whether it's a PhD student, or whether it's a doctor like us, it is called prompt engineering. Okay, so the number one skill to learn is prompt engineering, right? And we are not engineers, we are doctors, but we are going to dwell little deeper into prompt engineering. We'll go everything from basics to advanced in this session, and we'll be discussing everything you need to know about prompt. Also, even if you don't have any prior knowledge, it's absolutely fine. So let's first understand in the first chapter what is generative AI, what is the concept of generative AI. So what is generative AI? So generative AI is something very simple. Basically, it's a artificial intelligence has various forms. So you have diagnostic, your reflective AI, your generative AI. Generative AI is which generates things from the data which is learned. So how it works? It works in this following flow chart. You give a prompt, there is an interface. So you would have seen something like ChatGPT or Perplexity. These are interface. there is a large language model behind this interface. So for example, ChatGPT uses GPT-4o, or there is a new model now which I'm going to show you, and then ultimately it gives an output. So this is the entire flow chart for what is known as a generative AI or a generative system. Okay, now like we discussed, what are the components of a generative AI? There are three main components. One is a prompt, other is the interface, and third is the large language model. Now the prompt is what you're going to input, what you're going to give as an input. This is the input. This is the back-end processor, and you're going to input something here, right? That is going to send something to the large language model. Large language model is going to give an output again back to the interface. So ChatGPT is an interface, whereas the GPT-4o is the large language model behind this interface. Now there are many various, there are many AI tools available right now. I've listed here some of the famous ones. So you have the ChatGPT, which is very popular. You have Perplexity, you have Anthropic Claude, you have Gemini, and you have Facebook coming with Meta AI. So these are all the various AI tools that are available to a lot of us. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, some of them are freemium. That is, it is initially free, and for certain things you have to use or you have to pay for it. Now let me keep things simple. What tool to use where? So if you want to use a general AI related task, I think ChatGPT is a good model. If you want to use AI based search, or you want to do a literature search, or you want to search for some recent information on anything, you have to use Perplexity. Do not use ChatGPT if you want a recent information. If you want recent information, if you want to search for information, please use Perplexity. Now please remember this very important point. Remember, ChatGPT is not a search engine. ChatGPT is not Google. Right? So don't use ChatGPT for searching. If you want to search for information, use Perplexity. So keep this in mind. Anything you want to summarize which is related to Google, for example, you want to answer your Gmails, or you want to summarize YouTube videos. So in this situation, you should use Gemini. Gemini is the AI model which comes from Google. Anything which requires reasoning and coding, you have to use Claude Sonnet 3.5. My favorite, anybody who knows me and knows that my absolute favorite model, I'm biased, please excuse me for it. My absolute favorite model that I use is Claude, right? Claude is my favorite, right? It's just like ChatGPT, but it is better at reasoning, better at coding, analyzing. Anything that requires computer vision, for example, you want to diagnose a fundus examination, right? Diabetic retinopathy, then you have to use ChatGPT, which uses something called computer vision. If you want to generate images, of course, you can continue to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT can generate images, but you can also use other models like something known as Midjourney, right, or Stability AI, right? So these are all tools which are for image generation. And if you want a model which requires tasks for reasoning or deep thinking, then there is a new model from ChatGPT which is called the O1 model, right? O1 model is basically a reasoning model. It thinks, right? It thinks about what to do, right? So if you want to do something which is related to thinking, which requires brainstorming, in such situation you use ChatGPT with a O1 model, right? So O1 model is available to some extent for free users also, but you'll probably have to pay for it to get some good access to it. It's still very new, so we're still learning how to use it. Now, you're not very sure which tool to use. Then, when you go to the system which you have developed, in this system you will find this tool which is called the Vivian Thomas tool, developed by me, for finding the AI tool for the right task. So you don't know what tool to use for what task. Don't worry about it. Go to this, go to the systemtechnology.com. From there, you join this course. In this course, within one of the chapters, you have this Vivian Thomas tool. Search for this, look for this, and then just click on Find Tools, and you will be, whatever tool that you want, will be able to search for it. So I'll show you a demonstration of this. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so this is the video. So let's say which is the best tool for AI based presentations, right? So you can just search for it. Now this is a search tool, right? Okay, so this is a replacement of Perplexity. So it actually searches for information. So this is like a search engine. Okay, so you can actually use this for search engine. So you'll think about it and it will give you an answer, right? Here it is saying, for example, SlidesGo AI. SlidesGo AI is a AI-based presentation maker. So you can search for it. Another suggestion is Gamma app, right? This is another, this is my suggestion. Of course, the AI model said SlidesGo. You can search for that. Now, who was Vivian Thomas? So all these tools which I've developed, I have named it after some unsung hero. So Vivian Thomas is, you can search for Vivian Thomas himself, right? You can tell me later who Vivian Thomas is. So Vivian Thomas is one of the unsung heroes in medicine, right? So you can search for him, and this tool we have developed, we have named after Vivian Thomas. Okay, right. Now, moving ahead. So now I'm going to introduce you to ChatGPT and Perplexity. Mainly we'll be discussing ChatGPT. If we have time later, we'll go to Perplexity, but mainly we'll be discussing ChatGPT. So let's understand ChatGPT. I'm assuming if you have never used ChatGPT, this is the thing which you have to go to. So what is ChatGPT? What is GPT basically? So GPT, this is the backend LLM model which ChatGPT uses. Currently, the model which is the best model is the O1 model. I already told you, right? So it's an O1 model which has replaced GPT-4o, but GPT-4o is still available. Now GPT-4o is available for free users also. Okay, so you don't need to understand what this is, but just just for your information for this. So then there is a paid version of ChatGPT which is called ChatGPT Plus. So this is the paid version of ChatGPT. This gives access to the latest O1 model, the O1 Preview and O1 Mini, and it gives you the usage is also faster, unlimited, all these things, and the context window, the input that you can give a larger input, right? You can upload your PDF files also, you can upload images also, all these things you can do with the GPT Plus subscription. So it costs about 1900 rupees per month, not very costly. So if you can pay for it, I think it's worth your money. So how do you access ChatGPT? You simply go to chat.openai.com or just search for ChatGPT. It also has a desktop application and a mobile application also. This is what a desktop application for ChatGPT looks like, and this is what a mobile application looks like. Now be careful. Some of the there are mobile apps which are clones of ChatGPT. So don't go to the clone. The app which is the actual app, which it says official app by OpenAI. So it should look something like this. So if this is the mobile app you have to download. And you can use it on your mobile phone. So the mobile app is also very nice. You can continue using it. Now, I'm not going to discuss Perplexity right now. We'll go straight to our topic. So if you're logged on to the technochronology.com website, then you will be able to look at Perplexity and some of the chapters which are there. So I'm skipping this chapter right now. You can go home and access that later. Right now, we are going to discuss on the actual topic of today, and that is prompting, right? So the chapter on prompting are divided into several parts, but we'll start with the basics. Okay, now what is the most important thing? Let's start with what is the definition of a prompt. So the formal definition of a prompt is that the large language models, a prompt is the input which you provide to the model, typically in form of text, or you can sometimes give images, or you can upload a PDF file, whatever, right? So the input that you give to the model, that is the prompt. Okay, now a well-structured prompt defines the type of output. So the point is that if you prompt things correctly, you will get a better response. Okay, this is the fundamental point, right? You should know how to prompt. I'll give you examples later about what are good prompts, what are bad prompts, but if you prompt correctly, you will get better output, right? I often get a lot of these, a lot of doctors come and tell me that, oh no, ChatGPT is not working for me properly. See, the point is ChatGPT works the same for you as it works for me. Why do I get better output out of ChatGPT? Because I have learned the art of prompting, and that's why it is so important to learn prompting, and that's why this is a skill which a lot of people across the world want to learn. Okay, so this is the formal definition of a prompt. Now, to give a simple explanation, a prompt is a set of instructions or questions that you give to the model to get useful answers, right? So it's a set of instructions that you give. Now, it's like asking very specific questions in your history to your patient to get the right diagnosis. Now, the better questions you ask to your patients, the better answers you'll get. Now, we had this running joke in medicine, right? That when the intern goes to the patient and asks the patient some question, the patient will not answer anything, and the resident will go, patient will answer something, senior resident will go, patient will answer more things, right? But ultimately all of them will say no, the patient is not giving proper answer, we don't know the diagnosis. But when consultant goes, immediately the consultant goes, the patient gives blurts out everything, right? So that is what it is, that it's basically how you extract information from the LLM. That is the art, right? We all have the same patient, right? In examination, we all given exams, and we had the same patient, and to some the patient gave a better history, to some people it did not. Why? Because it's a way of communicating. So prompting is a form of communication skill, right? It's a communication skill, right? And the better communication skills you have, better communicator you are, the better you are at prompting. Now, of course, I'm going to show you some formal ways of prompting, right? But always remember, I think the simplest way is, it's like giving instructions to your assistant, right? So you have an assistant, or you have a resident doctor, or you have a junior, you have an intern. You are giving some instructions to your intern. The best thing is, first of all, quiet, take a deep breath, sit down, ask your intern to sit down, and then tell, beta, this is what we'll do, right? So this is what you need to do. So you need to go to this patient, then this is the bed number of the patient, then you go greet the patient, then you greet the patient, ask them how they are doing, right? Talk to the relatives, then ask them this particular history, write it down, right? Bring it to me in this page, right? So these are the set of instructions you're giving to your intern, right? You're giving very specific instructions. The more specific you are in terms of instructions, the better your intern is going to do. Okay, so that is what is the simple way of trying to tell you how prompting really works. Okay, another example is the story of Ali Baba and Charlie's store, right? So Ali Baba had this password, right? So he could open that door and to the khazana. So that is what it is, right? So prompting is like opening the doors of your large language model to the beauty of the model which it has. Now, like I already told you, good prompting is like taking good history. So just like a good clinician is a master in taking history, right? Same way, a good AI user is the one who gives very good prompts, right? So that's the whole idea. Now, let us look at the formal format for writing a good prompt. Okay. So let me tell you a step-by-step guide to good prompting. So the standard format for a good prompt works something like this. Who am I? Okay, so you have to tell the AI who you are. Okay, AI doesn't know, right? It doesn't know who you are. So you have to tell that, look, I am a doctor, I am an endocrinologist, I am a 10th grade student. Then you have to tell the AI what it should be. What is the persona, right? What you want the AI to be. So you can tell the AI to be an intern, medical intern. You can tell the AI to be an engineering assistant. You can ask the AI to be a coder. You can ask the AI to be a journalist, right? So you give a role to the AI. Then give the specific task. Then give the context to the task. For example, if you want to say that summarize this article, so that article is the context. Okay. Then you need to give what kind of output you want. What is the format? What is the size? So I want the output in 300 words. I want the output in bullet form, right? These are all little instructions for output. Then you tell the tone in which you want how you want the output to be in the tone, right? For example, I want this article in a formal tone. I want this in a informal way. I want this in the way of how Shakespeare writes, right? So you need to tell the tone. Then you need to give the intended audience. Okay, so output is intended for. The output is intended for general public. I'll give you an example later, which is going to show you how changing the prompt, right, gives dramatically different results. So let's start with some examples. Okay, so remember this is a format, right? But it is not a very strict format. It is not that aisa hi hona chahiye. It is not like that. You don't need to be exactly like this, right? You can be creative, you can give plus and minus, but the more information you give, the better information, more clearer instructions you give, the better output you get, right? That is what ultimately is the basic thing. So do whatever works for you. But what I'm going to show you is some tips and tricks which is going to make your things better. So let's start with who am I? Who am I? I am an endocrinologist with 10 years experience. I am an experienced clinical researcher. I am the head of a multi-speciality hospital, whatever, right? So you need to give very clear instructions. Why is this important? Because then LLM understands where you are coming from, right? And sometimes, for example, especially in the medical field, it locks certain things. So it is not going to tell a 10-year-old child how to treat malaria, but it is going to tell a consultant how to treat malaria, okay? So that's why, you need to tell AI who you are. Then you tell the AI what you want to be, what you want the AI to be. So the AI can be an expert clinician, AI can be a medical research assistant, AI can be an expert biostatistician, right? So whatever you want the AI to be, ask what it wants to do. This is important because if you give a role to the AI, then whatever it does after that, it assumes that role and does it accordingly. Then give the task, okay? So this is where you give the specific task you want to perform. So start with an action verb. For example, search, right? Search for strategies to mitigate genital tract infection with SGLT2 inhibitors. Generate a document that helps my patients mitigate GTI with SGLT2. Design a brochure explaining the importance of genital hygiene. So start with the action verb. Search, generate, design, make, format, shorten, summarize, right? So these are all action verbs. So you start with an action verb. Then give the context, right? So summarize the information that I'm going to give you. Then give the information, okay? Summarize this document. Summarize this website. Extract the information from this website, right? So these are all the context, right? So context that you want in terms of tasks, right? Don't worry if this is all overwhelming. This is all there in the material, right? So you go to technocrinology.com and you'll be able to access all of these material, right? So you can search for it and you can get this material. Okay, moving ahead, right? And I've given, we'll be discussing lot of examples also, so you'll get an idea. Okay, so context is give me a summary of the research article that I uploaded, or give me a summary is the task and research article is the context. Then you have to specify what output you want, format, size, etc. So I want the output in a markdown format, right? Markdown is a language, someday we'll have a separate course completely on Markdown. It's beautiful. If you learn Markdown, it changes your life, trust me. I want the output in a PowerPoint, PPTX format. I want my output as a Python code, right? Again, you can also say the size, right? So I want this as 1 page, okay? Or I want this as 300 words, right? Or I want this in 1 sentence, 1 line, 1 word, right? Whatever works for you, right? So you have to think, right? So size 300 words, 1 page outline, whatever. Then you can say other formatting, right? I want the output in bullet points. I want the output in this format. I want it as a single paragraph. I want it as multiple paragraphs, whatever, right? Then you give the tone, right? So I want this as a professional tone. I want this in a friendly manner. I want this output like in Gujarati. I want this output in Hindi. I want this output in Bhojpuri. I want this output in French. I want this output in Spanish, right? So specify the tone, right? How you want the output. Then you need to specify the audience, okay? So my audience are expert doctors in the field of endocrinology, right? That's my audience. So once you say that my audience is this, then the AI will understand, okay, fine. Your audience are doctors. So I will give answer according to how I'll explain to a doctor. Or you can say my audience is lay people. So give an output as if I'm explaining to a 10th grader. This is my favorite prompt. Okay, this is my favorite. Give me an output that it would be like explaining to a 10th grader, right? So here it will make it very simple, very easy to understand. I in fact ask sometimes, I upload article and ask it to explain to me like I'm a 10th grader. Okay, so I also assume the role of a 10th grader, and trust me, it's beautiful. Okay, you will go back to your childhood days where your teacher was teaching you in simple words. So some examples, right? You can always give examples. So there are some terminologies. We'll discuss the terminology. There is something called zero shot where no examples are given, and there is something called few shot where you give typically about not 15, 3 to 5 examples, right? So typically give 3 to 5 examples. So these are all some examples which you can give, right? So that's the thing, right? So for example, you can classify the patient data as CSV file with the following heading. So here you are giving the example, right? I want the heading as name, age, gender. For example, Mr. X, age 25, gender female, right? So this is something like you. So so if you give examples of how you want it, then it does the rest of the task better. Now, some examples of good prompt versus bad prompt, right? So bad prompt is something like this: AI, give me medical advice. No. What's a refined good prompt? As a AI language model, please provide evidence-based information, right? So this is persona. You are saying that you are an AI language-based model, right? Or you could have said, as an expert clinician, right? Please provide evidence-based information. So that is the task, right? Please provide. Provide is the verb, you can see, right? On the current guidelines for management of type 2 diabetes in adults, focusing on lifestyle modification and first-line pharmacological drugs, include references to recent peer-reviewed articles or authoritative medical source. So I am also telling it where to search for, right? So this is a bad prompt versus a good prompt, right? This is a more detailed prompt. So you'll get a much better result with this prompt than you'll get with this prompt. Okay. So there are more examples on the website, so you can look at that, right? So given some more examples as well. Okay. Then let's go to the fourth lesson. How changing the prompt leads to different outcome, right? So this is something very beautiful I'm going to show you. Now, I have given this one article, the same article, I'm going to upload and change the prompt, right? And you will see how different the answer is, right? So here, one article, so this is an article from New England Journal of Medicine. So here I'm saying, I am an endocrinologist. So I'm telling, who am I? You are an expert medical researcher. My audience, and this is where audience is very important, right? So my audience are expert endocrinologists. I have uploaded this research article from NEJM. What is this? This is context. This is context. Okay. Right. Then I said, please give me a 300 words. So here I am giving output instructions. 300 word summary of the article. I wish to share the summary of the article with other doctors on social media. So I'm also giving more information. The more information you give, the better it is, right? So let's see. Let's run this prompt, right? So we are uploading the article. This is an article on use of liraglutide in pediatric population, right? So we have this, right? Given this, I just put this prompt, and you can see the article, the summary which is coming. Okay. Right. So it is giving a summary. We said 300 word summary, and you want the summary in to share with the other doctors on social media. So it is giving summary, right? So it is given this type of 300 word summary on this topic. Okay. Now the same thing I have changed. So now I am saying I am an expert endocrinologist, that is same. You are an expert medical researcher, that is same. But my audience is general public. Okay. This is what we have changed. Audience. My audience is general public. Rest of the thing I have kept the same. I have uploaded the research article on NEJM. Give me 300 word summary. I wish to share the summary of the article with lay public on social media. Summarize the article in such a way that a 10th grader can understand. Give the output in bullet points. Okay, so this is I have also given very specific output instructions. Okay, so you can see here I have put this prompt, and now you can see the result completely changes. Of course, you may not be able to read the entire thing here, but once you go to the website technochronology.com, right, and you can use this link here, right, and go there and you will be able to see the output differences in terms of output, right? Okay, moving ahead. So here I have given a detailed prompt cheat sheet, right? So there are more instructions, more ways of doing it, right? So tone we already discussed, right? That a professional tone or authoritative tone, right? Format, right? So bullet point, detailed case study, flow chart, etc. Role, right? So indicate a role or perspective. So you are a medical expert, you are a mentor, you are an educator, you are a teacher. Give the objective, right? The task. State the purpose. Give the context, which we already discussed. Then give the scope. Okay. So limit the discussion to insulin therapy for options for type 1 diabetes. So this is limiting the thing, right? So you are giving scope that I don't want about everything. Just limit the discussion to insulin therapy, or limit the discussion of using dapagliflozin in MASLD. Give keywords. List important keywords like, for example, include terms like HbA1c, insulin resistance, GLP-1 agonist. Why? Why do you want keywords? Because again, if you're going to put that on social media, then there will be something called search engine optimization, right? So when you use keywords, you will get it, right? For example, you're putting the article on PubMed, you'll require keywords, right? Then you have limitations, right? Specify the constraints. For example, I want this under 500 words, 300 words, etc. Give examples which we already discussed, and give the deadline also. So let's say, mention deadlines or time frames by time sensitive responses. Submit the patient information sheet by Friday. This is not very important, but so right. Then you give the audience which you already discussed, right? So audience can be primary care physicians or so here I've said tailor the presentation to primary care physicians with limited endocrinology experience. You can tell the language, right? So provide the summary in simple English, avoid complex medical jargons, give the summary in Hindi, give the summary in Urdu, right? Whatever. Citations, right? So request the inclusion of, so you say that, cite guidelines from ADA, give the point of view. You can ask it to give point of view, right? Ask AI to consider multiple perspectives, right? So consider both the patient's and clinician's perspective. You can ask for counter arguments, right? Request addressing potential counter arguments. For example, address concerns about cost effectiveness. So give pros and cons of everything, right? So you have this sort of debates also, all these things, so you can do, right? Specify terminology. For example, use insulin dependent, avoid using insulin dependent, instead use type 1 diabetes. Give analogies, right? For example, like, give metaphors and like Sidhu, right? Now Navjot Singh Sidhu, right? This is like this, that kind of thing. You can ask for quotes, you can ask for statistics, you can ask for a call for action. End the presentation with a call to action for physicians to screen early signs of retinopathy, right? Ask for questions, right? So you can ask clarifying questions about patient's medical history. So, for example, if you want a prompt to make a diagnosis, then you can ask AI to ask you questions, right? And you'll be able to answer, right? That way. Okay, now I have a treat for you, right? So this is Elist Augusta Ball AI prompt generator. Again, you will tell me who is Elist Augusta Ball, right? There was a form of treatment named after her called the Ball treatment. You can search for it on the internet. Here we have this tool which you have developed, which will help you write a good prompt. Okay, this is the first version of the tool. So I'm going to refine it, and you will find better versions in future. But this is the first version. So here, all these things, some of the things which we have discussed, we are giving this here. So this is available on the technochronology.com thing, right? So you can go there. Here you say, who are you? Who do you want to be? What is the task? What kind of format? And give examples, right? So simple way of doing it. So let's try using this tool, right? So here I'm saying I am an oncologist. I want you to be a demo patient with education up to high school. Ask 10 questions. Make me a list of 10 questions you are likely to ask me in consultation. Give the output in a markdown format. Okay, and then I'm saying giving some examples. Okay, is optional, so you can. Okay, or here I'm saying give me in a table format with serial number, question, answer, right? And you can give some examples. So here you say generate prompt, and it will generate the prompt for you, right? So this is a prompt it generated. Instruction: act as a demo patient with high school education who has been diagnosed with cancer, is about to have a consultation with oncologist. Generate list of 10 questions that you as a patient would likely to ask during consultation. Context: you have been recently diagnosed with cancer and you are meeting an oncologist for the first time. You have a high school education. Role: you are a demo patient. Format instructions: give the format in following 3 columns: serial number, question, answer. Examples: it has generated its own examples and given, right? So this is what it looks like, right? So this is the prompt which it generated. Now let's use this prompt in ChatGPT. Okay, so go to ChatGPT and just copy and paste this prompt, and there you go, right? So this is the prompt, and let's see what output it generates. So there you go, right? So it makes the table. So we had asked it specifically to give the table. Now if you recall back, right, we had said patient, you are an oncologist, right? I am an oncologist. You are a demo patient, right, with 10 grades. So the persona you are given is a demo patient. You wanted an output in form of a table, right? So all this thing it is complying with, right? So it is giving you, right? What type of cancer do I have? How serious is my condition? What are my treatment options? Will I be able to continue normal life? What are the side effects of treatment? How long will treatment take? Will the treatment be painful? Are there any risk of complications that should be? What are my chances of recovery? Right. So the top 10 questions which a patient would ask during consultation. Right. So maybe you're an oncologist, you are training for oncology consultation. This is what you could use. Right. Something like this. Okay. Now, in the technology.com, there are certain assignments which are there. So try doing this just to kind of get a feel of how to do things, right? So the first assignment is to generate some prompts. So you can do any one of these, right? Generate a prompt for making a web application for calculating BMI. Now remember all the format I told you. So you'll start with, for example, let's say I have to write a prompt for calculating BMI. What I'll say: I am an endocrinologist. You are an expert coder. Okay. Now I want you to generate a web application for calculating the body mass index, right? So that's the task. Then context I'll give. What is body mass index? So I'll do the, copy the formula from internet and put it, right? So kg per meter square. So you can say that, the patient enters the weight in kgs and height in meters, and then you calculate BMI according to this. Then specify the output, right? So you say that I want the output in numerical form in kg per meter square, right? So 23 kg per meter square, so on. Give an example, right? So that is how you can, and say I want the output as a web application, right? In HTML with JavaScript, right? Or you can say I want this as a Python script, right? So on. Generate a prompt for writing a patient instruction for new osteoporosis injection called romosozumab, right? So you can say, oh, I am an expert endocrinologist. You are an expert pharmacist, right? Please write patient instructions for the osteoporosis injection called romosozumab. So please write patient instructions. So that is the verb, right? Please give it in Hindi. Please give clear instructions. Please give it in bullet form. Please give it to somebody who is just a 6th grader. So on and so forth, right? So all this you can try writing some good prompts. Then try testing it, on the large language model and see how, you can experiment. See, if you write it as 3rd grader, if you write it in Hindi, if you write it in English, see how difference it makes. Okay. Now I'll give you some tips, some mnemonics to remember good prompting. Simple ways, right? One is an RTF format, right? Simple. All this thing is very complicated, right? Let's make things simple. R is role, T is task, F is format. Simple, right? If you don't remember all this, just remember RTF. Role, I am a doctor, you are a doctor, whatever. Task and format, right? Just give RTF, sometimes it is enough. Okay, you can use the TAG framework, TAG. Task, action, goal. Okay, task, analyze the latest research on thyroid hormone replacement therapy. Action, summarize the key findings. Goal, provide a comprehensive overview, right? So TAG format. This is not my favorite. My favorite is RTF, role, task, format, right? Role, task, format, simple. Another framework which I like is called the RISE format, right? Role, input, steps, expectations. Okay. So role, again, you understood what is role. Input, provide patient data, including, lab results, medical history, etc. Steps. So give step-by-step process, right? So think in this manner, okay? And then give expectation. I want the outcome in following way. I want the output in 300 words, so on, right? So this is the RISE framework, right? But again, my favorite is this role, task, format, simple, right? So lot of times I just write this, in this format. Okay. Now let's move to the advanced concept. So let's now go to some advanced prompting skills. Okay. So here I'm going to give you some, a few tips and tricks about some advanced way. Now there is one advanced concept which is called chain of thought. Right. So chain of thought is a prompting that encourages language models to break down complex thing into reasoning tasks. This is actually very beautiful. This is where it's a reminiscent of what future of AI is going to be, right? The chain of thought process. So by give examples of how to go step by step process. I'll give you some examples later. What is chain of thought? It's a very beautiful way of multi-step reasoning. And the new model which ChatGPT has come, which is the O1 model, actually uses this chain of thought, right? So it thinks in a particular way, right? In a particular chain. Okay. So this is chain of thought prompting. Then there is something called few shot learning, right? Already give some examples, right? Give 1 or 2 examples, right? Give 2 to 3 examples. Ideal number is 3. Always give 3 examples, right? So if you give 3 examples, it understands how it wants the output to be. Okay. So simple hack, you want to force LLM to do a chain of thought thinking. Just say this line. This is Alibaba's password. Let's think step by step. Okay. This is my patient. Okay. This is the history of my patient. Let's think step by step, right? So it will then think step. Okay. Now the patient has headache. Patient has visual blurring. Okay, then what next, what next, what next, what next. So it will start thinking step by step. So it is very useful for any diagnosis you want to make, or so you want the LLM to think. Then you say, let's think step by step. We just say this, the LLM is forced to think. Then there's something called zero shot prompting, right? And then sometimes you repeat the same thing twice. What is the capital of India? And repeat it twice. What is the capital of India? If you give this twice, same thing twice, sometimes it gives very specific answers, right? Sometimes you have seen large language model make mistakes. So you have specifically told that I want the output in markdown format, but it doesn't give the output in markdown. So give it twice, right? You know that it is making a mistake here. Give that instruction twice. When you give instruction twice, it is more likely to do that better. Okay. Now there is a Claude, Anthropic Claude. I already told you Claude is my very favorite, right? Claude is my one model I love is Claude. Okay. Now here Claude actually has given a prompt generating and validating service. So they have given very beautiful. In fact, a lot of things I learned about prompting I learned from Claude. Okay. So how to access this? So you can go to this is console.anthropic.com/dashboard, and it looks something like this. Okay, so it provides, it helps you to write prompts from scratch, generate a prompt, right? All those things. Okay, so let's see how we can generate a prompt using Claude. Okay, so you go to this, right, and describe your task. So this is, I already gave you one. Already gave you the tool which the Augusta Bell tool, right? For ball tool for making a prompt, right? This is something like this. In fact, that tool is actually inspired by this, and it also uses Claude at backend, right? So let's here generate a prompt, right? So here I'm saying I want to make a prompt that converts a markdown document into a PowerPoint presentation, right? Okay, so this is just a set of instructions which I'm giving. So this is lazy prompting, right? This is what is known as lazy prompting. I'm just writing whatever there is there in my mind, okay? And then it asks it to generate the actual prompt, right? So it is given. So here it is giving the entire prompt, right? It makes a nice little prompt, and then you can use this prompt in your whatever large language model you want to get the. It makes a detailed prompt. You can very clearly see. It gives the entire set of instructions. So the chances of your large language model making less mistakes is that. So what we are doing here is quintessentially, you can see, something very interesting that we are doing, right? What we are doing is we are first, right? So here we are giving some simple instructions into Claude. Then we are generating a prompt. And this prompt we are using in large language model. Okay, so we are doing, so you don't want to use your brain to make a prompt, then ask Claude to make a prompt and then use that prompt to do your task. Okay, so it's like that is what we are doing basically. Okay, right. Now you can actually validate the prompt also. So there is a prompt which you are repeatedly using. So then Claude has something called a workbench, right? So workbench is where you can actually test the prompt. Okay, so give some examples and test the prompt, right? For example, let's say you're making some task which you're going to do repeatedly and you want to save that prompt, then try using workbench and see what kind of results. You can test the results also. Then you can do a little bit of experimentation also and see what works better. Okay. Now there are certain special markers and symbols to use in prompting. Okay, so this makes your prompting job better. Now there are certain delimiters. For example, there is a triple quote like this, right? So you want to encode a large block of text, then you give this triple quote. You can use simple backticks, right? Something like this, right? So if you have line of code, then you give it as backticks. Then you can give angle brackets for placeholders, right? So you want to put some variable or something, then you give angle brackets. You can give square brackets for some optional elements, right? Curly brackets to denote again variables or placeholders. You can use this type of pipes to give a list. Okay, so these are all special characters also. You can use hash symbol to write section headings. You can use asterisk to emphasize or give bullet points. You can use hyphen to create visual separation, right? You can use colon to introduce lists, right? You can use semicolons, right, for separate. But so it's just like grammar, right? So you're actually what you're doing is you're changing the grammar of prompting, right? So these are some tips you can use for it, right? Then you can use formatting keywords like, within the square brackets you say instruction, context, example, query, response. So all this format that we saw, for example, the RTF format, right? So what I'll say is role, right? Then I'll say task. So I'll write this in square brackets, role, task, and format, right? So that way. Okay. Then you can have task specific markers also, summary, translate, analyze. So what happens is, see, LLMs, when they're training it, they train it in this way. So that's why you are able to get better answers, quicker answers by doing this type of little bit of jugglery to get better answer. And you can, if you're using something very repeatedly, you can just make that prompt ready, keep it and save it somewhere on your desktop, and then use it every time you are using this task. Okay, now let's look at some specific prompts for specific use cases. So this is again the piece de resistance, right? I'm going to show you some prompts which I have made, right, for specific tasks. Let's look at this here. Prompt for summarizing medical articles, right? So you can say, I have a PDF I have shared of a medical article. Okay, I want you to, so you can see how I'm writing a prompt, right? I want you to generate a plain language, right? I'm saying plain language. So the PDF I have shared, this is the context. Okay, so this is the context. Okay. So this is context. Okay, I want you to generate a plain language summary of the article, right? So this is the task. Generate plain language summary. Then you are saying audience, you are specifying the audience, right? For the 10th grade audience, right? Format it properly so that I can share the same on LinkedIn. I can post the same on LinkedIn. Then you are giving specific output instruction, make it like title, summary, reference, important point, so on, right? So you are actually, giving a detailed prompt. This is a very good prompt. Okay. So again, I want you to summarize a medical article and upload it, right? So that's the assignment. This is assignment number 2. You just summarize the article and you can upload it on this on the technocranology.com. Okay. Then now this is my absolute favorite, right? This is something which I've, while designing this course, I've done this, and this is my little, recent favorite, right? Okay, so this is called chain of diagnosis prompt. Okay, so what is the chain of diagnosis? Here, there was a paper which was written by Chen and Gui, who actually gave a whole detailed article of what is, instead of chain of thought, they called it chain of diagnosis, right? So how a AI can actually think and make the right diagnosis. So here I made a prompt based on that article to help clinicians make the right diagnosis. Okay, so it's a very beautiful prompt. The paper is free paper, so you can it's the citation is given in the course which is there, right, on technocranology.com. So how to use the prompt? So the prompt is there. I'll show you the prompt. You can directly use the prompt in your favorite LLM, but you can use the tool which you also developed, which is called the Chen Gui tool, right? So this is the tool, right? Chen and Gui. Why? Because Chen and Gui were the people who wrote the paper, right? So here I am giving an example. So you have a 50-year-old patient with diabetes who complains of pain in the right shoulder. Since the last 3 to 4 months, the pain is very severe and more on movement. Okay, so this is the diagnosis. This is the history. So I want to make a diagnosis. So it does what is known as chain of diagnosis, right? So it thinks in a particular way. Okay. So here it says something like this. Okay. So patient information: age is 50, gender male, diagnosis diabetes, symptoms: pain in the right shoulder, severe worsening of movement. Symptom abstraction. So it first abstracts the symptom, right? So patient is experiencing pain which is there for 3-4 months, which is exacerbated movement. This suggests a musculoskeletal issue that could be related to the diabetic condition, right? Then the candidate disease recall. So it goes here. and then we go and okay, so it does the symptom extraction, then it starts giving differential diagnosis. So what could it be? It could be a adhesive capsulitis. Then it thinks on its own, what is the confidence score, right? What is the likelihood of this, it being this? It could be a rotator cuff disease, right? So what is the confidence interval? 55%, right? Then it says it could be subacromial pain syndrome, right? Then it does diagnostic reasoning. Okay, this is all with one prompt. This is all one prompt. That prompt I've given on the technoplanology.com. Okay, so it does diagnostic reasoning. Okay, so it could be adhesive capsulitis, it could be rotator cuff disease, it could be subacromial pain syndrome. Then it does symptom inquiry, right? So what you should be asking for further differential? What is the range of motion? What is the pain characteristic? Does the patient have a history of any previous injury? Are there any neuropathic symptoms? Then it says confidence assessment. Okay, so based on the information, I am more likely to think it's adhesive, it's frozen shoulder. So final diagnosis says probably frozen shoulder, and then gives a treatment plan also, right? So this is all based on a single prompt. Okay, this is a tool which I developed called Chain GUI tool. You can try this out for different symptoms and tell me how. Give me a feedback also. Again, this is all of this what I was going to show. These are all alpha new versions, right? There will be mistakes. If there is a mistake, you tell me, right? And then we'll be able to improve it together. Okay. Now, similar way, we have made a prompt for making a diagnosis of clinical image. Okay, so let's upload an image, and then I'm also going to show you the image and also the history of the patient, right? So this is what was posted by somebody on the CME India group. Okay, so this is the image of the patient, and then I've given the prompt. Okay, I will show you, and I want it to make a diagnosis. So this is the image, right? And this is the history. History something like this, right? So this is a patient, right? 30-year-old female, no comorbidities, fever, polyarthralgia, headache. Patient has transient urticaria, mucosal ulcers, conjunctivitis, maculopapular rash on the palms. Platelet count is 1,10,000, 4,100 WBC, HP is 14.2, AST, LT are mildly raised. So then I wrote this prompt. Okay, so you are an AI-based assistant. You will help the physician make the diagnosis. What is step one? What is the image provided? Identify the organ involved, right? So all these things are written in this prompt. The prompt is there, right? And then based on this, you can see how good the tool does in terms of the diagnosis. Okay, so we uploaded this, and then we asked for the answer. Okay, so it is thinking. Now it is doing step by step. Step one. What is the image provided? The image provided is of a maculopapular rash, right? This one. Okay. Then it is saying identify the organ, right? So we had said identify the organ. So here it says image appears to be of a skin, okay, with a widespread maculopapular rash. Then it reads the accompanying notes provided. So there is a patient's age and all that details which you are given. Then it starts thinking of probable diagnosis. Okay, so it says dengue fever. Why dengue fever? Dengue fever commonly occurs with fever, polyarthralgia, headache, maculopapular rash. It could be Zika virus. Sorry. Hello. 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 Is it audible now? Okay. Okay, since how long was it gone? Any idea? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back here, and so you have the Chain GUI tool. Okay, so this is the tool which you developed. I think we already discussed that. Let's go to this. Okay, so this is the prompt for making a prompt for make. Oh, sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is give you the prompt for making a diagnosis using clinical image. Okay, so what you do is you I'm giving you an example. Okay, so this is somebody had shared this image of this patient. This is a maculopapular rash and given a history. So history was something like this, that the history, the patient is a 30-year-old female with no comorbidities. Patient has fever, polyarthralgia, headache, has transient urticaria with mucosal ulcers, conjunctivitis and maculopapular rash. Labs show 1,10,000 platelet count, 4,100 WBC, mildly elevated SGPT, SGOT. Okay, so this is the history, and then we put this history and the image into the chat GPT. Okay, and then let's try to see what diagnosis it makes. Okay, so this is trust me, this is a lot of doctors also did not get it right. Okay, so let's see how good the LLM does. So here it says first step. Okay, so first step is, what is the image provided? Images of a maculopapular rash. Identify the organ. Organ is skin. Accompanying notes, patient's age, symptoms, lab results. What are the possible diagnoses with potential differential diagnosis? So it could be dengue fever. Why? This could, it says dengue fever is polyarthralgia, headache, rash, thrombocytopenia, elevated liver enzymes. Then it could be Zika virus. Okay. Then it could be chikungunya virus. Then it starts doing diagnostic reasoning. Okay. Why dengue fever? Right? Why Zika? Why chikungunya? And then finally it says most likely dengue fever. Right? So it gives the diagnosis thinking of all these parameters. Right? Again, more information you give, the better results it is going to think, and good prompt is going to help. Right? So this is the final recommendation. It says treatment, final diagnosis dengue fever, most likely treatment plan, supportive care, regular monitoring, and so these are the things. Okay. Now, if you want to do academic medical research, then use Perplexity. I already told you, if you want to use something for search, use Perplexity and not ChatGPT. Perplexity is available in Google Perplexity. It's easily available. A lot of things is free, but there is some paid pro version also. So let's say I want to do a research on Finridon in heart failure. Okay. So the prompt I have given is something like this. Okay. So here, right? So you want to search in the following way: title of the research, authors, year of publication, relevant content based on query, citation, link to the article, right? So you are trying to do a research work, right? Okay. So and the topic which you are doing is Finridon in heart failure. So it is given the answer like this. Okay. So Finridon in heart failure. So this is the Figaro DKD trial. These are the authors, year of publication, relevant content, citation. Okay. Link to the article. Next article. So you want 3 or 4 articles. Finridon, review of chronic kidney disease in type 2 diabetes. These are the authors, publication, so on, right? So what we are doing is, we are writing a very good prompt for clinical research. So this is what, let's say I am writing an article for Finridon in heart failure. This is all the information that I'll get, right? So it gives me 6 good articles. Then I can read the article, summarize the article, and then go on to that, right? Now, one of the advanced workshop we are going to do about workshop on specifically on doing medical research using AI, right? Or writing an entire systemic review using AI. And so on the same MetaNext Alchem platform, we'll be doing a complete detailed workshop on conducting research using AI. Okay, great. So this is what you do. Then some prompts for generating images. Okay, so let's say you want to generate a simple image, you can use ChatGPT. So here I have given a very nice prompt. Create a photorealistic image of a vintage bicycle leaning against a brick wall in a narrow European alleyway with soft morning light casting gentle shadows and cobblestone street leading into the background, excluding any people. Right? This is the prompt I gave. Right? Look at the image it generated. This is the image it generated from the prompt I given. Okay. So general image prompt. Now you want to generate an infographic, right, or some presentation slide. Then you use something called SVG. Okay. So SVG is trying to generate an image using code. So here I have said design an interactive infographic on healthy eating habits. The goal is to educate viewers on balanced diet, include sections of fruit, vegetables, proteins, grains, use illustrative icons for each group, incorporate a colorful and friendly style, titles in Comic Sans, MS for playful touch, body in Helvetica, design in portrait orientation for web viewing, make each section expandable upon clicking, ensure accessibility by using alt text, provide final output as a SVG. Right, this is the output instruction, SVG file with interactivity enabled. So it generated the entire thing. You can actually click on this and it will give you more information. So this is something which I generated from this. Then you can develop flowchart. For example, here flowchart for making a diagnosis of diabetes. So it says patient presents with symptoms. start with fasting blood glucose. So this is something called mermaid diagram. Okay, so we'll discuss this when we do an advanced workshop. But simple, you can ask that. Okay, these are the things. Design a flowchart using mermaid diagram. So it will code everything, and then there is a mermaid live editor. You can go and it will generate the entire flowchart in this manner. Okay. So again, assignment for you, right? So make a prompt for generating an outline for presentation for male sexual dysfunction, right? Let's see how good a prompt you write and how good your results come with the use of large language model. Right. So this was the end of that. Right. So some important take-home message. What tool to use in what situation? General AI related task, use ChatGPT. But if you want to do literature search, remember ChatGPT is not a search engine. If you want to use search, then use Perplexity. Okay. Anything related to Google, use Google Gemini. Right. Anything related to coding, use Claude Sonnet. Anything with computer vision, use ChatGPT. Anything that requires reasoning, use the new O1 model, right, for ChatGPT. Okay. Good prompt. Who am I? What do you want to be? What is the task? What is the context? How do you want the output? How do you want the output to be? The tone, format size, the tone, the intended audience, and examples. Or you can use simple RTF format, role task format, simple, right? These are the other things, right? So finally, when you complete this prompting thing on the Technochronology, I'll show you the platform, right? On this Technochronology. There is an exam, right? You can answer these questions, right? And if you are able to answer 5 out of 10, you will get a passing mark and you will be able to get the certificate. So certificate, once you complete the course, it will say you have to go through all the course material. Even if you attended this video, you can just go to next, right? I'll show you that, and then you'll be able to complete the course and it will show you the result, right? Something like this, right? You get the certificate. You will be able to download the certificate. Each certificate will have a unique certificate ID. Okay, and then or you can copy the link and share it with your friends or share it on social media. Right? So thank you for a patient listening. Now before we move ahead, I'm going to show you the platform, right? And then we'll take some questions from the audience. So you just check this out, right? So our future workshops are also going to be in this manner. So we'll be using this MetaNext platform for the deliberation, and then you will be able to go home and access it. So this is the technochronology.com, and you go there. I already signed up, right? So I already signed. Once you sign up, right, you will go to this free membership. It's the first time you're doing. You will be able to, and you'll be able to. It's a new thing we put. You can check this out later. This is the thing you have to go to, okay. And then this is the course curriculum. You can resume the course. So this is what it will look like. So and what is generative AI? All these things which we discussed. This is the Vivian Thomas tool, okay, for finding the right task. So you can find the best tool for generating flowcharts. Give it some time. It says, okay, Lucidchart, Creately, Draw.io. You can check this out. It gives links also, right? Okay. Then all these things, generating, basics, advanced. Here, the specific prompts, all the prompts that I discussed, all the prompts are there. You can just copy and paste these prompts and put it in your large language model. Assignments, these are assignments. You need to submit your assignment, which is upload the file, right? And you'll be able to submit it. Okay. This is the Chain GUI tool for making a diagnosis based on symptoms. Okay. So let's take this only. For example, 45-year-old male. Okay. Just copy this. Yeah, 45-year-old male patient presenting with severe headache, nausea, sensitivity to light for the past 24 hours, no history of migraine. Diagnose. Right. So here it says, okay, symptom abstraction, candidate disease recall, migraine. Yeah. What is the confidence? Why migraine? Severe throbbing headache, nausea, vomiting, sensitive light, tension headache, 20% chance, cluster headache, other headaches, so on. Symptom inquiry if needed, confidence assessment. Given the current information, most likely diagnosis is migraine. Right? Final diagnosis, migraine, treatment recommendation is this. Okay. Then we showed you a prompt for diagnosing image. This is the prompt, right? So step by step. Step 1, what is the image? What is the organ? What is the accompanying notes? Right? So on and so forth, right? So this is the example which I given. Okay. Then prompt for medical research using Perplexity. Yeah. So you are an academic medical researcher. Conduct the query in following. Conduct a comprehensive query using PubMed. Analyze the search results. So try this out, right? So here we should use of Indranol in heart failure. These are the articles which it gave us. So all the articles you can just see. It's the video also. And we already discussed the prompts for generating images, right? So I have given some examples of this. You can just directly copy this prompt here, right? Prompt ready-made given. Just copy this and put it in your LLM. Okay. This is for making infographics. Then this is for flow charts. Okay, mermaid diagram. So this is what a flow chart in a mermaid diagram looks like. And then you go to Mermaid Live. This is the link I've given. You can try that out. Okay. And then finally, take home messages and exam. Right? So just check this exam out, give the answers, and once you do it, you finish the course, attend all the things. You know, to conduct a medical research using new chikungunya virus variant, Pune, what to do? So I want to do research. Remember, research is current. So you have to use Perplexity. That's the answer. So just to give you an example, so this is, you can go and check out these questions. Okay. So try that out and give me feedback. So you can send a feedback to technocranology@gmail.com. Right. So if you have any feedback, you can just send it on that email address. And any questions also, we'll be happy to take.